And so we would talk about things of, like couples who could be locked down in the same space. And normally they have excuses. Some relationships, probably a lot of relationships, have excuses. I'm working late. I'm out at dinner. Like, pick up the kids, or I'm doing this, and anything to distract, to stay away from their partner. But now they're forced to be in with their partner nonstop. So we kind of wanted to like shine some light on those kind of things in a comical way. Sure. Thank you so much for having me. It's so great to connect on an international level. I love France so much. It's one of my favorite places to go. I've been coming, since I was a kid, so for many years. And I have a song called Paris Fashion Week. I have to send it to you, and you should put it in the episode at the end or something if you want. It's called Paris Fashion Week. Yeah. And so I was so inspired while I was there. So I made a song about it, but it's streaming everywhere on the Sophisticated Psychos platform, all the streaming services.
We can share the links. We can share the links. No worries.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. So I'm Katie Chonacas. I was born in Kyriaki. I'm very Greek. Kyriaki in Sunday, or Kyriaki in Greek means Sunday. Kyriaki also is a saint, a martyr, and I'm named after my dad's mother, who is my very bestest friend in the world. She just turned 92. So shout out to all the Kyriakis and Greeks out there. And I come from a big Greek family. They lived in Greece. They came over to America to provide a better life. My yaya came first, and then everyone else came. And I went through my journey of life, and I moved to California at the end of 2001. And I took a leap of faith, how my yaya took a leap of faith when she came to America, although she took obviously a bigger leap because she came over on the boat. Things weren't so convenient. She grew up on a donkey going 10 hours or 10 miles each way to pick blueberries for her job. And when I went to California in the modern day of 2001, my siblings came, other people came, but I was the first one to set sail, how my yaya did. So we're very, very close. I love her so much. She's so sweet. And, growing up with the poets and Greek mythology and fantasy and play, I always had a lot of space to, become very independent. It's how we were raised, with a lot of like food and culture, and growing up in the Greek Orthodox Church. And I learned about language and hymns and prayer and meditation through religion, and just through all the philosophers like Homer and Aristotle. And going through my journey, my dad ran cross country, and he turned me on to cross country running. So it taught me a lot about short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. And it gave me a lot of foresight and insight to, having a foundation as a youngster. And I could apply that principle to the game of life and to my work ethic and my career. So that led me to California, and that's where I went to Paris, I went to Toronto, I went to New York, and I went to LA. And out of all the places, I wanted to go to Paris, number one, and I didn't speak French. And I was with, I went to one of the top modeling agencies, and I didn't pivot and have the quality of the thought or the hack back then, or no one said to me, and she didn't say to me, oh, like, just go study, French. And then, but maybe it was an excuse to not take me on. But she honestly said, like, if I, spoke, French. So, but I didn't think, oh, just go, take a few months out to learn it. Right. I could have done that, but I didn't. I went to Toronto. It wasn't there. 9/11 just happened, but before I already made my choice to go to California. So I went to California. I got my feet wet. I didn't know anyone. Well, I knew one person, and that one person I only met one time. But that's all it takes. It just takes one person to give you some good information. So I hope to be of value and gift that to the listener and to the person watching right now. And even for you, Chukri, I hope I am an inspiration for you along your journey. And I look forward to definitely collaborating and producing something together, fellow filmmaker. So I'm excited for this conversation.
Yeah, why not? I'm always eager to share, to collaborate for on the projects. It could be very artistic, and of course, definitely. Can you tell me? So you were a model and an actress in the same time, and there was a transition or something.
Yeah, I was modeling in Michigan. I was also getting my feet wet with commercials and acting. I came to LA. I was so focused on acting, I forgot I was a model, and I had like they had my model book, you know, in my trunk, and I was in the elevator, and this guy Carlos saw my hair, and he wanted me to be a hair model for his company. And I was like, okay. And then they put me with this photographer who put me with CESD, who is one of like the top agencies in LA. And I went there and I started modeling. I was so focused on acting, I forgot I was a model, that I could go to auditions and have, extra income when I booked jobs. But still, it's difficult, just like acting, when you're auditioning, when you have the good opportunities to audition. Same thing with modeling. When you have the good opportunities through an agency, it's still difficult to book a good job. So it wasn't like, oh, I could just like start modeling and make like money, as if like, you have to, like, it's a career. You have to go audition and you have to be selected for the campaigns. And there's a lot of factors involved. But yeah, so I was simultaneously doing acting and modeling at the same time. And I was studying with William Alderston and the Meisner technique. So the one person I knew, Gordon Michaels, who's best friends with Dylan McDermott, he is also his acting coach, introduced me to Dylan. He was working on the practice, and I was able to get my union card. And I went to the SAG after building, and I paid $1,400. I was marching up. I was so excited to, pay the $1,400 to be a part of the union, to be a part of the creme de la creme of, the gateway to like Reese Witherspoon and Johnny Depp and Juliette Binoche and all the great actors. I wanted to be union, and I didn't want to deal with all the other stuff in life, because I just wanted to be like, be in a good position and have quality people with quality choices with contracts and be protected, instead of being thrown out to the races when you do independent work, where they can use your name and your likeliness for like the rest of your existence, even after you're gone, when it's non-union. So you have to be really careful, fellow thespians, with contracts, and make sure you always have an attorney look it over. And really, attorneys are free because they take just 5% of your job. So they don't take money up front. If it's a good quality attorney, they take 5% of your future commission. So like, I have attorney friends who are like, yeah, kid, when you get the TV show, just come to me, I'll do your deal. Because they're making space, because they believe in me. So we want to get around people who believe in us and who are looking out for us in a good way, and stay away from people who make us feel smaller or make us feel like we're doing something we don't want to do. Because I found out along my journey, a lot of people prey on people in life, just in general, and in the industry and in life. And if someone's preying on you, or making you feel inadequate or smaller, or making you feel like you don't want to do something, it's a sign to get away from those people. Because I found the good people, like myself, the good people, they're not going to force you to do something you're uncomfortable with. They're going to respect your boundaries because they respect their boundaries, and it's going to be a communicative, healthy relationship. So it's really important to find those relationships, to plant seeds, because this is a long-term game. Like we're connecting, but like we could be literally in a film together in 5 years, or in a year, or 15 years from now. So we have to think about it like I do, like a cross-country running background with short-term, medium-term, long-term goals, sowing seeds, nurturing it like a garden, and every 3 months raking it and get rid of the duds. Because so many people will be like, talk, but then they don't follow up with the action. So I kind of got off on a tangent there, but circling back around, let's kind of hone it in, which was, getting my union card, and then only knowing one person, and then focusing on the craft. I got involved with William Alderson right away. He was a student as an actor at the neighborhood playhouse in New York City. and Meisner was teaching Gordon, Dylan, and William Alderson. And Stanford Meisner told William Alderson, you need to be a teacher. And then he did. And he opened up the William Alderson studio in Los Angeles. So right when I got to LA, I got into a class immediately. And I did the Meisner technique, blue shirt, blue shirt, blue shirt, blue shirt. And there's a Samuel French bookstore. And I was in there just reading books and, getting equipped with the language and networking and meeting people. And IMDb is a great resource, iMovie database. And they have an app now. And you just, when you're out networking, talking to people, and they're like, oh, I'm this person, or I'm this person, I'm doing this, or I'm creating this. You can go to IMDb to see if they're true or not, so you can see if it's real. And if it is, great. That's great. It's a business relationship. Nurture that relationship in a professional way and take it seriously. Because if you don't take it seriously, they're not going to take you seriously. If I don't take people seriously, they're not going to take me seriously. If I don't take myself seriously, like, they're not going to take me seriously, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. It's but I was wondering, how did you find this process of becoming, basically? So you've been you were a model, actress, but you're still an actress, and then I think you went to the directing,
Mm-hmm.
the, some TV series and some films, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
how was the process, from the beginning, from scratch, and the process of becoming?
So, beautiful question, and I'm excited to share this with you. So Screen Actors Guild and the SAG Foundation has events all over Michigan, LA, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, different places. They have events, and now they're virtual events. They're all online, which is exciting because then you can see more, but it's also great to be there in person because you meet people and you see the people, and there's just something about going to the Directors Guild or to SAG-AFTRA in person. There's like a vibe and synergy, and you feed on that energy. But I was there, and I was I saw Blue is the Warmest Color. Amazing film, love that film. And I heard the lead actor, who's half Greek, talk about the process and the director and how it was. Brie Larson was there, and it was the time when the tech was booming, and actors, comedians from the biggest films you can think about, and actors who were filmmakers who were stepping in as filmmakers, as producers, to create their own content. They're like, you can take a cell phone. They're like, they made it so micro, so small. Like, you can take a cell phone, do anything. They're like, just get out there and shoot. And with that, like, unveiling of permission and just like inside information from my fellow craft makers, I always wanted to, but I didn't make a short because I had a limited belief. I'm like, oh, if I do a short, what's the point? I might as well just make a full length feature. Like, I didn't understand the steps in between. I was going zero to hero, and I learned along the way. And then I was looking at, Lars, who's an amazing film director. I was looking up his work. It's one of Johnny Depp's favorite directors from Denmark. And when I saw his work, I went and looked him up, and I'm like, oh, he's done 8 short films before he did his first film. And that really inspired me. And then I met an amazing cinematographer, Paul Cameron, on this commercial I was booked on for 3 days for the Olympics. And my friend Ron Mornoff was the producer of that. And I met him when I was the lead on Pink's Who Knew music video. And then while I was on that set of the commercial, the 3-day commercial, there was so much downtime, and I was reading, and a lot of like background actors and people, they're all like talking, and I kind of just come in, not that I'm antisocial, but I talk a lot, and my voice is kind of, loud, but I was just on set reading. I just want to I'm there working, I'm reading, and when I have downtime, I'm in my trailer or just kind of like doing my own thing, and maybe during lunch, I'll sit and talk with some people. But so I met this guy, Raphael, who was like a son to Paul Cameron. And they shot that on the Red Epic, the commercial from the Olympics. And I had this vision of a project that I wanted to do called Red Egg. and it was around the holidays time, and I told him about it, and he got my vision. And he's like, let's have coffee when we come back from the holidays. And so we had coffee. He's like, yo, we can get all this, the crane, all the material, because crew guys, they have like special deals with, all the equipment and stuff. And he had his own connections. He's like, I can get all this for this, and I'll shoot this for you. I got the location. I got my friend's house. We had 2 days. We shot this short film called Red Egg. I did it through the union. I did all the paperwork, all the admin through the union, so it'd be SAG-AFTRA. And that was my first short film. And I was so inspired by the fellow filmmakers at the union that I took action and I just did it. And it was great. And I actually put it in the film festival circuit, but I don't think the cover letter and the message was very clear, and I didn't have the team support. So it didn't do too well in the film festival circuit, just because I had lack of skills that we can talk about. Because pivoting to now, which I don't want to jump the ship, because I have, some other stories we can tell about the process. But right now I have an international award-winning lockdown comedy improv web series called Couples Therapy that's available on the Sophisticated Cycles YouTube channel. And we won in France, in a couple different film festivals in France. One is called Côte d'Azur. And my friend actually created the WebFest at the Cannes Film Festival 2 years before the pandemic started. And while I was doing my research, because of what I just shared with you, how I did it and I didn't have success in the film festival circuit, well, this time I reached out to all my contacts. Well, I'm jumping the ship, so we'll go back there in a minute, because I don't want to. Or actually, but do you want to jump? Do you want to go there? Or
yeah, of course, you can jump to the future nowadays, and then you can go back to the past. Of course,
okay.
It's like a movie,
Yeah. Okay. So I can take you from zero to hero, since the through line connects with not having the support in the film festival circuit, and I spent thousands of dollars. And my I had a writer do, the synopsis and, polish it. But what I didn't do, what I did this time, was when the pandemic happened, I put my head down in March of 2020, when the whole world shut down. I put my head down and I'm like, what can I do? Create. Okay, act. That's what you know how to do, act. So I produced, directed comedy lockdown improv series, New York to East Coast to West Coast, LA and New York, on Zoom. And we did improv skits, and they were riffs, and we found the funny in each bit. And once we had the funny in each bit of comedy, we would go on to the next bit. And then my producing partner, Nikki Scorpio, he put the music, the intro, the outro, the coloring. He did the editing for it. And I said, okay, cut here. Take this out. We didn't really take out too much, but I'm like, cut here, because you cut when it's a high, and like cut here to leave people wanting more to binge, because they're like, maybe 5 to 8 minute episodes or 12-minute episodes. They're short web series. But when we had the first season, I called 5 people during the lockdown. What happened? We did season 1, 2, and 3. We let out season 1 and 2, and we were Alessandra leaving, my producing partner, Nikki Scorpio, my producing partner, and we have a trio. We've been creating content together for about 5 years now, right? And if you want to put the link to the season finale of She's All Over the Place, we get in depth of the process of couples therapy and our 5-year relationship, to understand the process of how that was developed. But for time purposes right now, I was sitting and I'm just like, okay, I'm putting all this energy out. All these projects, we've put so much energy out. We're just creating as artists, filmmakers. We're directing, we're producing, we're creating. But how do you pivot, scale? Putting all this energy out. How can we make it reciprocal? So then I talked to the team after thinking. I'm like, the caboose, we need to get on the train. We need to take the train and put it on the train tracks to leave the station, to go out, but put it out where the energy is gonna come back. And that's in the film festival circuit. So I talked to my team And before I did alone, I did it alone. I didn't have a team. And I'm like, hey, like, do you want to do this idea? Yes. Okay, what's our budget? Well, we probably think it's going to be this. Okay, let's start with this budget. And it was maybe $250, $300 each, right? So that gave a nice budget for like one third, one third, one third. So we could all share that. So not one person's having that full responsibility. And it just took a weight off my shoulders. And it felt so good to have team players. And that's something I had to develop and learn along my journey as well. Being a team player and not doing everything alone and by myself, because I had so much Greek pride in my roots and my pride of, I can do it. I can do it. Yeah, I can do it. Just because we can do it doesn't mean we have to do it alone. Just because we can doesn't mean we have to. And sometimes we go on a journey and we feel like we have to prove something to ourselves because of our parents or our partner or someone who puts some kind of shackles and pressure onto us, which happens to all of us or some of us. And I felt like it was one of my lessons in life to grow through, right? So then when we're in business and we're doing it and we have a budget, I then think of people that I know who are independent filmmakers. My friend Jason Dudek, he is a filmmaker. He LA Confidential on Netflix is amazing. It's his project. He actually hired me in a movie called Legacy with Hilary Duff's sister. And I was in that movie. And we stayed in contact. And he just, he tells me stories now of my read and my audition, how epic I was. And the role I went for actually went to Hilary Duff's real best friend at the time. And she's an actor too. But they liked my read so much, they gave me another role in the film. And then so I called him and I'm like, hey, what are the best comedy film festivals? And he gave me a list because there's thousands of film festivals. How do you know? Which leads me to another friend who tells me there's film festivals that are there the first year and gone the second year. There's so many that come and go. There's thousands of them. So he's like, do 4 years and above. I'm like, okay, that's solid. Also, he was the director of the Web Fest Côte d'Azur, which is different than a film festival. It's a web fest. For people like me, I'm a shoe and fit for people who make web content, everything digital. And this was pre-pandemic. So I'm tooting his horn over here that he was like a genius to be very forward in that kind of thinking pre-pandemic. And then he asked me to be on the board, which was an honor. So now I'm on a board in the film festival circuit. And so that was a gift. Just by the process of being in it, other gems and unexpected gifts came along the way. And that's what you do when you get in action and you start messy and you just do it. By being in action as an actor and as a human being, by being messy and by going and just doing it, you find out quickly what doesn't work, what does work, what you want, what you don't have, what you want to strive to get to. And it starts your roadmap just by taking the first step and starting messy and, going in with curiosity. So that's really important. Another friend, and then I called my manager. And I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And he's like, oh, I know someone who's in the film festival circuit who's been very successful and has a film in the circuit. His name's Patrick Duncan. And now we follow each other on Twitter, but I've never met him. But I just know him from my manager. And because of my managers, I trust my manager and my manager trusts me. And then he trusts this person, Patrick. We talked on the phone and he told me when you do filmfreeway.com, do the gold membership. And when you do the gold membership, if you're submitting, which is $10 a month, and when you're submitting projects to film festivals, which we did, we submitted like 50 at one time, we saved over $800. When you're a gold member, you get like 20% off or something like that. And then when you're not submitting, you can just take the gold membership off. He's like, the other thing you can do is there's a marketing page. It's like $10 and they feature your project on the front page or like the hot list or something like that. And you pay for it, a one-time fee, and you're the featured person. And then all these film festivals that you would want to be a part of potentially, they see you and they write you and they give you a promo code for like half off, 50% off, 20% off. So then we got invited to over 900 film festivals. And then we had to sift through them and we accepted about just under 100 total. And so we've won 20 to 25 best web series so far. I won best director for 4 of them, or won best actor for 4 of them so far. So that's kind of like the fail of my first short film through the union, and then the success through the international award-winning lockdown improv series Couples Therapy.
Congrats, Katie. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's very amazing because you're very dedicated to your passion. You want to do it, you do it, but sometimes you have to step back and then you start it again. Maybe it's from scratch for others, but you just, I think, keep faith in yourself, I think.
Faith is number one. I have chills. Oh, wow, that felt good. I have chills. Faith is number one. And the other thing you said, starting from scratch. Although I do go to a blank canvas and it's like starting from scratch. You're like, I'm just throwing everything out. But that's what you do when you do the craft of acting. And when I do voiceovers, you don't do your acting coach and the preparation while you're on the mic, while you're acting. You throw it all out. So it's the same thing when you're a filmmaker or in any area of life. When you go to do something, it's like you don't want to be in your head thinking about it. You need to just throw it all out. And although it seems like you're starting from scratch, really underneath it, within it, is the energy of hope and faith and everything that you've experienced before of working and not working. So then you go in with a clear intention and focus of, this is my target, this is what I want, this is what I know I'm not doing, and you don't do it. Or if it comes up, you're like, nope, not doing that, sorry, thanks, or maybe next time. And then you stay to the target, and then boom, and then it happens again, you fall, and then you go back to the mat and you start afresh again. I mean, that's how come I did Red Egg. Then I did the web series with the new media contract, and I gave 5 non-union actors an opportunity to be in the union as a producer. I'm like, oh my God, that's all I wanted when I was a kid, was an opportunity to be in the union. And so I did that for 5 non-union actors, and it made me feel so good to provide that opportunity for people, right? To hold space for other individuals and to excitedly talk about my projects with people. So I've gone on to produce, over 15 music videos, spoken word music videos for other people, directing, producing. And then, so we had Red Egg, the short film. We did #Selfie, which is a comedy, dramedy. And it was about going to Coachella and, girls' weekend, getting out of Beverly Hills, like super obnoxious and fun, and, like Fairytale land and all that fun stuff, like colors and being cute, and just the bond of, and the kinship of, two girls, and then one having issues with her body, body shaming, which is a massive thing, so we wanted to really confront that in a way, and kind of expose it in a way, and then this like, rock star relationship with the boyfriend, and you can see it. And then what happened, and we did it during Coachella weekend, and then we won a couple awards for that in some film festivals, and one was through a personal contact. He was on the board of the LA Wild Film Festival, and that's how we got in and won that one. And then as the La Femme Film Festival for women, as a female filmmaker, they honored me and had me in that film festival. So that was a more specific project than the Red Egg, which was more of a experimental project. And I'm still not done with it. It's not like, it's still on the back burner, where there are film festivals that if it's past the 2-year mark, a lot of the projects have to be within 2 years. But if it's past the 2-year mark, there are film festivals that do see your project if it's past that mark. So I can maybe repackage that and maybe put some narration to it, to make it new in a way so people could understand it more. So I don't think my message was clear as a filmmaker, because what I was doing, I paid homage to Charlie Chaplin, and I had it be a silent film. And so it was just expression, and there was no language, because you could see and feel her pain and what was going on. Because the viewer, the audience, is very smart. Like, you don't have to feed them information when they're watching a movie. You don't have to say, oh, there's a pink elephant in the room. They can see there's a pink elephant in the room. So I thought it was like a fun experiment to pay homage to Charlie Chaplin and to do a silent film as my first film, but not in a modern day. So that's how artistic I am, you know. But like I said, maybe I could repackage it or something.
No, that's all right because there was a movie after that, The Artist, a French movie in
Yes.
the American era in black and white. So it was silent movie, and it was released in I think 2011, 2012 or something.
They won
And
everything. They won everything. I did mine in 2014.
yeah, and
Yeah.
you made your first film maybe early, but you got a great idea. So I have to see it. I have to see it, of course.
I'll
But
send it to you. I'll send it to you.
you send me all the links, of course. I will see everything. So I was wondering about your last project. It's a web series, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How do you get inspired about this project? What is it about?
Well, this project specifically, I'm all about. Well, before this one, I created Trigger Flaws, which is a web series through the union, and we shot the pilot and then the second episode, and they're on YouTube. We can put the links below, and that can still full circle and come back to be a TV show or a web series. You know, nothing's ever done. We just only did season 1 and 2. I never put it in film festivals. But that one, Trigger Flaws, was because I'm all about self development and learning, like know thyself, Socrates, right? Know thyself, and about enriching myself and others, and do it in a comical way, right? Like so, Trigger Flaws, scripted comedy, has a lot of spiritual things in LA, like green juices and my shamans in it, Shaman Harry Paul, and healers and gurus, and kind of like sharing information like Carol Burnett, but in a comical way where you're educating people. So it's kind of like a Carol Burnett modern day show. And then, so this pivoted where I was in New York City during the lockdown, and then it not being scripted made it okay for me not to put it through the union, because during lockdown, half the union was unemployed and it was shut down. So if it takes, with the admin work, 6 to maybe 8 weeks for paperwork, imagine what it would be for during the lockdown. So I'm like, how can I eliminate any distractions? And I'm like, I'll just do stand up, I'll do comedy, it'll be improv, I'll be myself, Katie Chonacas, showing my personality and my funniness and my voice as a voiceover actor, and my co-stars, they're voiceover actors, and we can just take in the moment of what's happening, the lockdown, and actualize it and lift it, and like, oh, I have to take my saffron, or like I'm this motivational Zoom speaker and I have 9 million people who are coming to me to like meditate, and then Nikki's in the background eating like a Burger King cheeseburger or something, like so anti, like peaceful and meditative. So we did certain juxtapositions to make it like the irony, funny, so people could laugh and be entertained during the lockdown, because we all could relate on an international level of being locked down. It was very relatable. And so we would talk about things of, like couples who could be locked down in the same space, and normally they have excuses. Some relationships, probably a lot of relationships, have excuses. I'm working late, I'm out at dinner, like pick up the kids, or I'm doing this, and anything to distract, to stay away from their partner. But now they're forced to be in with their partner nonstop. So we kind of wanted to like shine some light on those kind of things in a comical way, and deal with certain things through my development of Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, Caroline Mice, NYSS. I'm really big into neuroscientists. So Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Greg Braden, and just, Mystic Intuitives and Marianne Williamson, and just different like brands. And I work with a lot of different brands. So like promoting like gluten-free, non-GMO, like healthy organic brands, and like, like talking about those kind of things. And then the wacky therapist was Alessandra Levy, with her voice, and she had a wig and she was playing, this woman. So we just wanted to have fun in the way of what was happening in the world. We wanted to laugh and, come together as a community, and then create, and then share that with other people who, needed a good laugh, and then who could always identify with what we were all going through to a certain extent, especially maybe the people who were alone, a lot of people who were alone during the pandemic,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
so that was kind of some inspiration of creating couples therapy. We're going to release season 2 before the end of the year, so it will be out before 2022. Season 3 will be out, and then we will be having a season 4, and it will be continuing. We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it growing.
Cool, cool. You have yeah, you have I don't know, you have a perspective of this web series, and you see it for 5 seasons, and you just say it, and that's cool because a lot of TV series they don't say it. It's one season after one by one, and they don't promote like this. But in a way, you're independent and you do it your own way. It's which is great, I think. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really taken a life of its own. And since we did it in March of 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, and the world is ever changing and evolving, and we're all learning new things and new guidelines and things are happening, we can actually, pivot and shift. And it's taken a life of its own where we can just adjust to the moment of truth of what's happening and then apply our craft and our skill sets to the art form that makes it look like reality. And, art imitates life, life imitates art. And personally, my number one focus with everything I've done is to become a household name on TV. So for me to be in action acting, that's what they tell you. When you go to see casting directors and managers and actors want to get represented, what are you doing? Like, even if you're turning on a light and you're filming yourself from a scene from a movie or from a play and you're self-taping and you're just getting on camera, what are you doing? And out with the social media and stuff, we need to be acting. Like, for example, Punked was Ashton Kutcher. And I called the union,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how I found out about doing the improv series, but how can I do it when it's not through the union? Because Ashton Kutcher's Ashton Kutcher, and he's showing his personality through Punked because it's something he likes to do, punk people in a comical way, but he did it with, celebrities and supermodels. But it was his idea of a show. But then people would see it, be entertained by it. Directors, producers, agents would see him and then like his charm and his cute smile and his personality from Ohio, and then hire him in scripted union projects. So I can do this project as an actor, as myself. Same thing kind of for my podcast, where it's like brands are hearing my voice, but they're understanding my value, my ethics, my morals of who I am, what I stand for. And a lot of times when directors and producers and casting directors bring you in for a project and want to hire you, they want to know, like, who are you? What do you stand for in this world today? Because we're showing this to a certain audience, and people are very conscious. People are very aware of what's going on. Like, humans, we're smart. We're very smart, people, and they want authenticity and they want the realness. So it's knowing what was and honoring and respecting old Hollywood and the craft of acting and the language and the literature, and studying and researching and directors and knowing their work and actors, and knowing your voice and your instrument, and know thyself, like know who we are, what we stand for, and apply the craft and the skill sets to the project. And it doesn't matter if only you see it or one person sees it or 50,000 people see it. It's, I understand the big glitz, glam, and all that. And all that will come if it's meant for us on our journey, but it can shape shift and take a life of its own when we get out of our own way and when we allow it to. Not
Yeah,
expecting expectations and the results of something. Having an anchor, a vision, a projection of where we want it to go and how we want it to look. I mean, I didn't know we were going to, win so many film festivals, and we're at our budget and we're releasing season 3 and we're going to see how it goes. And, I'm going to take a pause, and then we're not putting any more money into it right now. I'm focusing on getting on TV right now, and as an actor on an HBO series or a Netflix series, some kind of series on a network. This is so I can do that, and then have a bigger platform to reach people in a bigger way. That's become so much more than just me, and that took a lot of work and self-discovery. to grow through those things. And that's why I have my podcast, and that's why I'm here with you, with the viewer and the person listening, because I wished I had someone paving the way and sharing things with me. And I did through literature. I did through having mentors in my life. And I always wanted to pay it. I always wanted to pay it forward and be that for someone else and for others. So that's why I show up. Not only am I showing up for the person, you, and the person tuning in, I'm showing up for myself too, so I can be a better version of me while we're having this experience here on the planet.
Yeah, hopefully you're gonna make another TV series and continue this web series. And because I think it's a great adventure, because it's a human adventure. I think if you create something, um, the web series project, it's kind of I don't know, you can reach people, a lot of people like this. Can you
Yeah.
tell me? Can you tell me how did you prepare? How do you prepare for the web series? It takes a lot of I don't know, efforts or
Honestly, life's a preparation. So when the camera's on, you just go and make everything like really big and dramatic, but grounded in reality. And it was my very first time to actually express in the way that I did. It was a way for me to release my rah, like when I did Red Egg. I did that project because in my mind it was a fantasy and it was a project I wanted to be booked on, but I wasn't being booked on it. So I created the role for myself because as an artist, I needed to express that. And when I work with talent and I'm putting together a project, I say to them, what do you need to express right now? Because I want to give them the free reign with their artistic expression. Because right now, you, Chukri, you're like, oh, I want to do something more comical, or I'm feeling really heavy. I need to let out some like dark demon dragon stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. And let's build upon that. So, and as an actor on our journey, sometimes we want to do comedy stuff, but then it's like, okay, I've been doing comedy. I want to do something darker. Yo, my friend was on this TV series, for years, and they were crying and crying on set all the time. And he was, in one of those cities where, the tax incentives were amazing. And so he wasn't in LA or New York or surrounded by anyone. And there was like nothing. And it was just the people on set and everyone. It was like one of the biggest TV shows, and everyone's loving this show, but everyone's crying. And actors were very open and emotional and vulnerable that we take on other people's energies. And he would be so sad all the time. He was so depressed. So when he got done with that TV show, he didn't want to be doing dramatic stuff. He wanted to get involved and like do a comedy movie or something, right? So I like to tune in and say, what do you want to express right now? Let's focus on that. So I kind of do that to myself right now. What do I want to express? And I was very frustrated with a lot of things in my life and feeling stuck and feeling, tight and feeling upset. And so I decided for the very first time to, expose that part of me that I've never done before, to get real raw. And I felt like that was a breakthrough, because by doing that, then you dismantle the shackles of hiding when you put it out there. And then but I just made it and molded it into the craft of the character of what was going on in the world, and what this what she could have been going through at the time. It's all stems from within us. So we came, before we start hitting record, we came up with some key points that we wanted to talk about. We came up with key points, and then we would hit those key points, and then if we missed something, we'd be like, oh, okay, wait, let's take it back. And then let's, like, one was about like an anxiety pill, but okay, she's like, oh yeah, take your anxiety pill, and it's like, while you're drinking coffee, take an anxiety pill. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, shouldn't you be having a herbal tea or a water or something that's not caffeinated, that's going to jack you up, instead of having coffee, which is going to just make the cortisol, release and ramp somebody up? It's like, it seems like an oxymoron, right? To be having an anxiety pill while you're drinking the coffee. So we just like went back to specifically get that moment, so we made sure we got the specific moments of the thing before we went on to the new thing. But because of the rapport of our 5-year relationship together, we really it really comes off seamlessly and natural, I think, and we feel, and the feedback we've gotten. So it's important to develop people that you trust and that you want to create with, so they can be your long-term partners. I mean, I remember someone told me a while ago, Steven Spielberg uses the same cinematographer, I think, for over 20 years. So it's like, it's a cinematographer and a director, and a lot of cinematographers and directors, there's this marriage when they get together, and then they go on to make the same projects together. And I thought that was really harmonious and beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great partnership because you can create different stuff for the long term, and it's valuable for the audience. Look, I don't know. Look what Steven Spielberg did. It's an amazing work. You know, it's great movies over the years, and if you can, yeah, of course, chemistry with people, it's very important on set, and working of course offset as well. And then you have to find the good people to get surrounded with the great people and the good chemistry and the good yeah, of course, yeah,
It's
definitely.
the number one
uh,
thing. Yeah, to do great work. It's the number one thing. We get so in our way and make it about other things. But if we come in and we blow our socks off and blow someone else's socks off, it's about the craft of the work. It's the person who walks through the door and they're just like, they shut the door and they're like, it's done. I'm the person, that's what it's about. It's about creating and collaborating. And yes, we want to be around good people. Um, and that shows through the efficacy of the work, of the craft and the work. Werner Herzog, and working with him was so amazing, and him hand selecting me for the Bad Lieutenant Port of Call New Orleans was such an honor. I felt like Joan Crawford when he personally wanted to invite me and call me, and I was in my hotel room doing another film in Shreveport, Louisiana, called Streets of Blood. Charles Winkler was the director on it. Sharon Stone, Val Kilmer, 50 Cent, he was in the film. But the producer called me and said, "Oh, like Werner wants to talk to you personally and invite you." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I just got off set. I was in my hotel room. I knew he was calling. The phone rang. I'm just like, "Hello," and it was really amazing moment. And those are the unexpected moments that we want. The dreams and desires of the things that we want are the things that we actually don't even know how they really look, that we really want. And it's those moments you look back and you're like, that was a merit moment. That was it. Those are exciting moments. And look at who he is in his body of work and what he's done. So it's all about one step at a time, and the quality of our choices and the steps that we're taking. With the nurture, the seeds that we're sowing are going to be the fruits of your labor tomorrow, and 2 years from now, and 5 years from now. It's a long game. So that's why I think sports really helped me with my mentality, like mind,
yeah,
body, spirit. It's really important for me, to be active in sports. I'm not like I was, but I have the foundation. And so once you have that training and that foundation, then you have the discipline. And I think that's what keeps one going. So, and it's never too late, to be disciplined now and to get involved, to be in action now. It doesn't have to be what other people are doing. It doesn't have to be with other people. You can, do it with a coach
mm,
or by yourself. There's so many online programs that are free nowadays, but it's important to get the energy moving, and be in action.
yeah, yeah, definitely. About action, what is your approach about the camera? How do you see it? How can you think about the takes, the frame, and what is your approach about this?
Well, when a director will normally tell me the frame, so it's good to always know your frame. Because they do lighting before if it's a close up, a medium shot, or a long shot. So, it's good to know what that is. So it's just being an educated, mindful actor and just being in sync with the director, knowing what the frame is. So
As a
I,
filmmaker, as a filmmaker, how do you see the camera? How can you what is your approach? I don't know which one did you use, and which you have the different angles, maybe. I don't know. It's
yeah, yeah.
different.
With Red Egg, I used the Red Epic, and he's a cinematographer, so I didn't have to tell him. He knew, and it was a trusted, that thing with, that creativity and working with someone you trust. It was a trusted kinship, and I would know if it was, if he was on a dolly crane, if he was doing a long shot or a close up. So that was the thing with Red Egg. With Trigger Flaws, again, with Trigger Flaws and hashtag selfie, my friend Andy, he was a fan of mine because he saw me and It's Always Sunny, and I met him this casting director's office. He worked for this casting director, and we became friends that way. And he was a fan of my work through acting before we became friends. And then I hired him as a cinematographer for Trigger Flaws um, and hashtag selfie. And so he respected me. And so he got my vision of what I wanted. And I just told him, like, this will be a close up. He knew to do the wide of it. And so I guess I don't want to say lucky. I just think I've made good choices about the people I've created with. I'm actually shooting, and then all the music videos I've produced too. I just tell the cinematographers what I want. This is the shot. This is a close up. So yeah, I mean, they've all just like gone along. It's been really seamless, I guess, in that respect, which I'm really supportive of. And when they say to me, a cinematographer, "Oh, I have this idea, or I want to do this," I say, "Okay, cool." Like I allow it. I never say no. I'm not going to shut down someone's creativity. I'm not going to micromanage another artist, and that's how I am when I'm on set. So if you want to do a shot, cool, let's do a shot. I'm open to it. I'm not going to say no, because when you say no, it disconnects the macro. It disconnects everything. So if I want to do something on set, a director has been kind enough to give me the free reign to do that. I do the same with my crew. Even with hair and makeup.
Yeah, yeah, of course, about the crew. But what about if someone's okay every day, different suggestions to do the take, and at some point, of course, you say yes, of course, but there's no I don't know, there's a time when you can say no, or maybe we'll see later because we're running out of time, and
I work very quick. I work very quick. So normally we have the time. However, if and I haven't really been on a project where I've been months, so I haven't done that, or something like major budgets. So I guess something would be like, okay, we have to stay on schedule. So I would communicate in a way, we need to stay on schedule, or um, uh, maybe not this one, or let's get it on the next one. So maybe if you're not going to let them do it on all 10 of them, but I think there's a mutual respect of them not wanting to do every single shot because everything's discussed. And so if there's like 10 different shots, you're like, okay, let's do 3 or 5 out of the 10. And so there's that balance of give and take. You have to offer something. You can't say no and be so controlling on everything, because it's a collaborative effort. And we have to let go of the control, of wanting everything our way. Even when we're the director, there has to be some flow and wave, I feel. But yeah, with the projects I've worked on, music videos are so fast. So it really hasn't happened with music videos, because it's a 1 day or a 2 day project, and you get the information pretty quickly. But when I do have the opportunity to be on a bigger budget, where maybe I have investors, and I'm hiring someone to do certain things, and if they are, let's say, worst given scenario, being very nitpicky, I can just kindly say, okay, cool, we can do this, no problem. But this is going to come out of your paycheck, not mine, and not anyone else on set. If you know what I mean, I think we have to be respectful of other people's time and boundaries, and other people's money, when they're giving you a project and you have hard stops to get something in. So I think that kind of puts people in check, but I think also just avoid people, do our best to avoid people who could be that way, where you would, that's why a lot of people do referrals, and you know how a person is before you get on set with them, instead of like getting on set and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know they were going to be that way. Or, oh my God, they did this or they did this. It's like, yeah, but it's not really their fault, because it's your job, if you hire them, to know their background and talk things out with them and understand their personal needs before getting on the set and before hiring them. So it's a responsibility.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, because you're here, you as a filmmaker, you're here to direct, and by directing, I say like this: you say, okay, like you pull the strings, maybe, but in a good way. You just keep the flow in a good way, and it's kind of positive vibe, and then I don't know, you give some, okay, you give them some instructions, of course, and their craft, basically. They know their craft.
It's about the work.
They're professional.
It's not about
Yeah,
the
sorry.
ego, it's about the work. It's not
Yeah.
about the ego, it's about the work. And when you get to the, the directors who are working, and the amazing cinematographers who are, if you look on IMDb and you see all the cinematographers and directors, and they're popping show to show to show, because they're in the system, because I don't want to say they're well behaved, but they're balanced with, they must be balanced in a way and do great work, where they know the system and the rules, and you have to respect the rules, and before you can try to bend and break them. And when you do it, it has to be in a communicative, creative, clean way, where it's not going to hurt the network or the production or the producers or the actors or the people on set. That's why a lot of cinematographers, they have they're called crew guys. They have their crew. They have their lighting kits. They have their gaffers. I've been on hundreds of productions, and it's so cool, because they're all friends. They all know each other. It's the same crew going set to set, working on different projects, and it's a trusted community and crew that they've built. And if one's sick or one can't make it, and I've heard this so many times, yeah, I got a guy, oh, we need this, oh yeah, I got a guy for you. And they trust each other.
Yeah, yeah, it's a virtual circle. I don't know. I don't know. It's a trusty circle or something. It's a trust circle.
And we need, and it's not an exclusive circle. It's a circle that we too, even myself, can get involved in. And we can do that by creating it. And we can do it by taking one step and finding people who are excited. First, you want to find the people. If you're just beginning, the most important thing is the education of the ambition and the excitement of someone who wants to learn. If someone soaks up knowledge and is eager to learn, and they're open and exciting, and they're coachable and they learn quick, that's someone who I want on my team. I don't need someone who already knows it all. I mean, it's good to have a mentor who does, and you can ask them and talk with them, and they filter things to keep you on the good track. So have a mentor, and even if you don't know this person in person, you can follow them on Instagram, follow them on Facebook, write them a message like, hey, I'm interested in this. What are some movies, or what are some books, or what are some things I can do as a beginner cinematographer or a beginning director? Or a writer. A lot of them write you. I've written a lot of people on Instagram. They see the messages. Everyone's just one click away. You can contact them. Hey, can you just give me 1 or 2 tips of books, or how I can get started in my local community? Just ask the question. There's a famous quote: you miss 1,000% of the shots that you don't take, right?
Yeah.
We just
Yeah,
have
definitely.
to go for it. We have nothing to lose. But what is so exciting and ambitious is curiosity, and something that just came from my gut just now, that sense of excitement. People smell that a mile away. And that's the life force. That's what everyone wants to be around. So if you have that life force and you bring that lightness and that eagerness, people are like, oh, that person's really excited. I remember when I was there one day. I remember when I was, when I was like that. And I want to pay it forward and say, hey, read this book, or, do this, go to IMDb, get involved, make something local, use your phone. I mean, there's so many cool things we can do just with our cell phone alone. And, just create, come up with a project, a lot of the writers and directors and the best projects out there come from a deep source of a personal story. And you don't have to let everyone know that's your story. But if you know a story or have a story, you can write it or, direct someone's personal story. Those are so
Mm.
specific with a great intention. Those are the ones that are the most unique, that can stand out in a big way because they haven't heard it before, or they haven't heard the story in this way before. And that's what life is as actors, as creators, as filmmakers. um Life imitates art imitates life. It's who we are and what we're doing. We're storytellers. So how are you telling the story? How is your way of telling the story unique and different? And to you, it might not be unique and different because I'm used to, like, oh, this is my hair, this is my hair, these are my eyes, these are my eyes, or this is what I do every day. So to us, we feel same, but to someone else, we're brand new, of brand
Yeah,
new
yeah, yeah,
energy.
yeah. It's about I don't know. Yeah, energy, the light inside of us, and it's I don't know. It's vibration. I don't know. It's something. Sometimes you just I don't know. Just meet someone. You just okay. Have we met or something? There's a sentiment like this. You think you met this person um, previous times. It's you were like I don't know. It's strange. It's a strange feeling, but you have to, in a way, you have to keep to trust your gut, trust your instinct, and even if it's not logical at all, just trust it
Yeah.
because in the end you will be right. You will be right, but not at the beginning. You won't understand, of course, but in the end it will make sense, or not. But you have to trust it in you, definitely.
Yeah,
I think.
intuition and energy. And we have over 40,000 neurons in our heart alone. So our hearts are very, very powerful. Our hearts and our senses know things before we actually see something in front of us. Like, you're walking down the street, you're like, and you look and there's someone kind of creepy. Like, you have a sense about it, right? Or,
Mm.
like, you're somewhere and you spot someone across the room, and you felt like you could just look over and someone could be there. You know what I mean? Like, in a romantic, charming kind of way. Our
Yeah.
senses are, we're sensorial beings, and our body intelligence is very smart. Our mind is just a tool that has,
Mm.
according to Dr. Joe Dispenza, over to 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. So we have all these thoughts going on, energetic thoughts that turn into form, that turn into matter.
Mm.
And some of these scripts, some of these thoughts, some of these scripts are the same thoughts, and some of it's your mother, some of it's your father, your brother, your ex partners, your current partner, your own scripts that you develop. So it's like, what's this script? What's this script? Write them down. Write them down. And then maybe that's the film. Maybe that's the short film. Maybe that's the project. Maybe that's the one woman show or one man show, or non-binary show, like whatever, like the thing that is frustrating you, the secret, the frustrating thing, the secret that you don't want to talk about is could be the film you can make, the short film or the comedy or the monologue that one can make. Because once you get it out, it keeps coming because it needs to get out. And once it gets out, it's very healing, actually. And then once that's out, then maybe you're getting to some juicy stuff that you've always been wanting to get to, past the irritation and the crap, because you've unclogged your drains. Then maybe the next project will be like, this is a story I wanted to tell, right? But it's not, even though it's about us, sometimes it's not about us. Sometimes we need just to get out of our own way. And sometimes that thing that keeps coming up is the story that we're supposed to be sharing, but we're so insecure to say it. So it doesn't have to say that it's about us, but it's coming up for a reason. And if one's a creator, our opportunity to be here is to create and start messy and to get it out. Because if it stays so inside, it's going to be so irritating and frustrating. But when we get it out and then you put it, and maybe no one ever sees it, it's on the back burner, it could develop into something else later.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not
Yeah.
taking the first step and getting it out, you're not going to be able to unclog the pipes to bring out all the other beautiful creations that could be bursting out of our vessel, our instrument. We use our bodies to tell stories. We need to literally get it out.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more, but yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it's I don't know, the way you talk about your craft. It's very I don't know. It's very um, different ways, impressive and how you say this one. I don't know, different words, but I can't find them in English. Sorry, my English is
same in French.
Impressive, like I don't know. It's like what is it again? Impressive et
impressive.
Impressionnant. There's another one. It's I don't know. It's about the influence.
Influence.
Inspiration.
Great, thank you. Well, that's what I like to do. I like to inspire. I mean, I didn't go to Stanford or Harvard or Columbia, for acting or anything. I went to Lambda. I went to the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. I studied Shakespeare there. I love poetry. I love language. So I went to Lambda instead of RADA, which is the Royal Academy, because I do music and acting. So that's why I went there for a program. And I've done the crafts, studying with William Alderson, studying with Michael Woolson, studying with Leslie Kahn, comedy, Margie Haber, cold reading, studying with Sherry Shaw, comedy in LA, studying with Susan Batson, Batsom. She has a great book called Truth, Truth. She actually has virtual classes you can drop in for $20 US Monday through Friday. And you can do drops in. You can do Susan Batson's studio, and you can do drop-ins. She's Nicole Kidman's acting coach, Juliette Binoche, Oprah, Madonna, Tom Cruise. Like, she's coached some of the best people. And a lot of international students come to New York to Susan Batson to study with her. And a lot of directors go and study with Susan, not because they're actors, to understand actors. So I've met a lot of international directors while being in Susan's class. And Susan's great, and I definitely highly recommend her book, Respect for Acting, Uta Hagen. You can get it on audio. Stanford Meisner's books, Stanislavski. So, through my journey, I've read these beautiful books more than once. I've been practicing, I've been in class, studying, and, endless private coaches. I mean, I'm going out for a TV show this afternoon, and I have a coach who's coaching me. I mean, I always get coached with my voiceovers. When I'm in the studio, I'm on Skype, and for all my voiceovers for animation TV show, animation films, video games, commercials, I get coached on every single one of my projects. Although I have my body of work of who I am, and I'm a director, I don't like directing myself when I'm acting. I did it before. I did it in Trigger Flaws, and I said I won't do it again. Because when you're editing yourself, literally, when I'm like doing voiceovers, I'm editing. And my coach told me yesterday, I started doing like 4 weeks ago. She's like, don't do that. Just hit record. Don't start and stop it. You might delete something. And it gets me out of from being the actor, because sometimes you have to warm up, and then it's usually maybe the last take or one of the last takes. She's like, you can just go back and listen to it and delete it. So, as creatives, even though we can wear multiple hats, it's great to be very specifically focused on one thing. And I didn't understand that theology that was so important, that so many successful people taught me along my journey. And I was fighting with them, not really, but fighting with myself, fighting with the universal law of truth, fighting with myself, like James Dean, Rebel Without a Cause, that I was going to be the one to show people that I could do it all. Right? And so by doing that, it was a part of my journey to have to fight myself through that and keep this page open. You can still hang up or reload. Okay. Oh, I thought something came up. So, okay. I heard a noise. So,
no, it's recording.
Okay. Oh, we're good. Okay. Confirmed. Yeah. But I was on this internal journey with myself, like fighting with myself, wanting to prove, again, prove. I have this pride, right? Not only being Greek, but I have this pride of wanting to prove to my parents, the world, to myself that I can do it. So I was wearing multiple hats. And I was so scared to dismantle wearing the other hats because I thought they're like my babies. I felt like I was abandoning them. I felt like I was giving up on my dream. I was so zero to hero, thinking I was giving up on my dream if I wasn't doing something. No, no, I'm just putting it on the back burner and it's simmering, and but it's really good when I'm acting just to focus on acting. And so in Trigger Flaws, I, decided, okay, I'm gonna have a director for this. Maybe I'll direct an episode or two. Maybe if I'm not in it, I'm actually doing this project, and I actually was asking myself if I'm gonna shoot it to be the cinematographer, should I even be in it or should I not be in it? Or maybe I'll make an appearance in it, but maybe I'll just direct it and shoot it. Or shoot it, but the parts where I'm in it maybe only not be in it as much as I thought I was going to be in it. I'm still developing it, so it's a teety totter. We'll see how it goes with this specific project. But I kind of like the process that you were talking about earlier. When I come up with something and it's like, okay, I'm gonna make this happen for 11/11 for my birthday. This project I want to put out, and I want to put it in the film festivals, and it's me directing, producing. I want to be in it as the actor, showcasing art and artist, and make it fashionable, and then put it into film festivals and have it, be internationally seen in the level of, how couples therapy. So now, once I learned how to scale and I know the language with the cover letters and having a team player, then once you do it once, then you can do it again. And it just only gets better and better. Just keep building on top of that thing and have other people involved,
Mm. Always doing, and you can get better, of course.
Yeah. I mean, that's the point. You want to have other people involved. This gallery, Ethos, it's a Greek name. I met this woman. She has this gallery called Ethos, and she's an artist as well, which is super cool. So she gets wearing the multiple hats, and she represents artists. And so she's like, I want to be a part of what you're doing. I'm like, okay, cool. And not only will I have my artwork in there, but I'll have her artwork in there, and then her artists from her gallery in there, and we collaborate that way. And in the digital world, have our art be seen, right? And then my production company, The Sophisticated Psychos, we started off as music, but now it's turned into a production company. Then it's, Ethos partnering up with The Sophisticated Psychos, which is my brand, and then building upon that to keep creating and work with other people who see our work and then come to us and say, hey, like, we want you to shoot our music video, our web series, our short film. We want you to shoot our project. And, that's how, like, Lemonade, I think his name's Colin, and he does all this, he has like Lemonade Media, and he does like all these really cool videos. And so, and then I saw this other one called like 777 Productions, and that's what he does. He's a director and producer for these projects. So, but my number one focus is acting. But within acting, if you look at Jennifer Lopez, she has Plan B, right? That she did with Brad Pitt. I don't know if they're still partners. Natalie Portman, it took her a while, but now she's producing. She was just the actor for a while, and now she came on as a producer a couple years ago. Margot Robbie, she's producing. Jessica Chastain, she's producing her new HBO series that I'm watching right now. I think she's producing that. So Sandra Bullock, people, there have been women in Hollywood who have had their own production companies for years. You're an actor first, and then you could also come on as a producer. And a producer friend taught me about that, being an actor and then, being a producer as well. So they kind of go hand in hand with one another, but it's really important to focus on one thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense because at some point, as an actor, I think at some point you need to branch out to get different original stories, and you want to be involved as an actor, so you have to look for this kind of projects, and you can do that as a producer. So as a producer, you grab this film project, okay, and I want to be in it. I want to star in it, and so that's the idea. So you can control, in a way, your career, if you want, in a way, to some
Yeah,
extent.
Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, Good Will Hunting, years ago. I mean, they were on the forefront of it before social media, before everyone was creating their own content. They wrote that script. Boom. You know, they were on the forefront of it. You know, one of the people for, you know, our generations in time. Jared Leto, he's a great actor. My mom just told me he got cast in something specific, but he's playing, what is he doing? He's playing, she just told me yesterday, Jared Leto is playing something Gucci, something in Gucci. So he's doing something in Gucci. Um,
Okay, the movie
I don't,
Gucci. Okay,
yeah, that's what she was telling me. So,
yeah,
but he has
they
30,
produce. It's in
he has,
production.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom told me he's playing it in it. So, but he has 30 Seconds to Mars, or his band with his brother. He's an actor. And I went to this one film where he was a star at the ArcLight Cinema in Hollywood. And I found out he directed this project, but he was going by an alias name as a director.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to find different ways. Not the old ways, but you have to find different new ways to get involved and to be able to continue in this industry, because there's an I think that, there's a saying, it's like die or adapt.
Mm.
In this industry, it's always like this. And especially during this pandemic, we had to adapt, basically.
We get to. There's a shift in that. So it's not like we're forced to, that we have to. We get to. It's an opportunity. We're living on this planet. It's an opportunity to be here, and we choose to create. And even if we don't choose to create, sometimes it chooses us, right? Like, how are you an actor? Oh, it just kind of happened. Like you're not living unless you're acting. Well, act. Like, no complaining. Create it. Make it happen. And I love what you said about like adapting, because that's why I said, like, know the literature, know the craft, get to the fundamentals, like the mechanics of it is so important, the foundation. But then be open as a white new canvas for the possibilities of infinite possibilities, because that's where the joy and curiosity and everything comes up, and allowing it to come up. And then with social media now, like in all the equipment, like there's so much accessible equipment that we can literally make anything. So you can just take this mold and be very intentional if it's going to be a comedy, if it's going to be a dramedy, like what story do you want to tell that story, be very specific about it, and when it's done, let it be on its own train tracks to be in the film festivals, or put it on the back burner because you want to show it to potential investors in the near future, or if you get a lit agent or a management team and you want to pitch it around Hollywood or internationally, you can do that. But then you come up with another putty mold, and then you're like, okay, now I want to tell this story. So the thing is, just be very specific about the stories we're telling, right? So like right now I'm very focused on acting and getting back on TV to be a household name, and for acting and animation, and everything else is a passion. But when it comes for acting, nothing else, like everything goes over here. And this is my number one focus, right? And so we need to have a number one focus and do that thing until you get what you want. And there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be distractions. There's going to be side turns. But as long as it's feeding the ultimate goal of the target, then do it. Like me being here and, being on the podcast and I'm sharing and caring and we're going back and forth, but it's all under the umbrella of acting and the process of filmmaking and creating. So I'm in the waters of the alignment of my overall target, which is a manifestation, and it keeps building and building more of what I want. Same thing for you, same thing for the person tuning in right now. And thank you for being here all this time with us. It's super grateful, because the number one thing is our attention. We can be anywhere, and we choose to be here. So it's very important, and it's very sacred, and we get to honor that moment because it's what we have, like really all we really have right now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I was thinking, what is your best experience on set or off set, maybe?
Offset or onset?
We can say both if you want.
My best experience on set. I've had some great experiences on set. hmm.
Maybe do you have some anecdotes, maybe
Hmm?
instead of some anecdotes, maybe?
Um, well, I guess one of my best experiences on set, offset was the story I told when I got to my hotel and
Yeah,
I got the call from the producer saying like Werner Herzog wanted to call me. That was a pretty prolific moment. Working with Nicolas Cage on a closed set was really cool just to observe his process and like what he was doing, what he was going through, and like the communication we had back and forth. I really loved working in Puerto Rico with Mila Jovovich and Steve Zahn. I just saw him in White Lotus on HBO. Oh my God, have you seen it?
not yet. You have to. I have to see it. I
You
get
have
it.
to see White Lotus with Steve Zahn. And I saw it and it's brilliant. And I'm was so shocked. I had the opportunity to work with Steve Zahn, and I'm watching him brilliantly with this character. Holy camoles. I hope I get an opportunity to work with him again. He's a genius. He was great. He's so good. And then, yeah, Mila Jovovich, it was really cool to be in her presence and essence and observe her. And she was so eloquently speaking with David Toohey, the director. And I was a part of the conversation and they were leading the conversation, but I was just kind of watching and observing them and admiring her. And, you know, it's
Yeah,
feeling the vibes of this is the direction I want to go with my life and my career. Not be her, but I just admire these qualities. I think she was a mother of two at the time. I don't know if she has more kids now, but she was a mother of two at the time. Um, yeah, so those are some really cool moments I've had on set.
yeah, yeah. You just, I think you just observed people working, amazing people working professionally, and
Mm.
you just get some tips like this just by observing. I think different people and at different levels, the crew,
Yeah,
the cast,
yeah,
the
yeah,
directors. Yeah,
yeah. And now I think when I have the body of work that I have, and I'm working with more artists in the near future, since I've deepened my practice in life and knowing myself, I think maybe instead of just kind of like going and being thrown into it and just going for it, like I said, start messy and then just go for it, which is what I think we need to do with the baseline of understanding the craft first. Uh, but now, since I have the body of work and endowed in the craft, being more intentional when I'm on set and collaborating with these other artists, maybe I'll have one or two questions that are maybe more profound that could lead me to deepening my relationship with not only them, the project, and the character. So I'm excited for that opportunity to come in the near future, because we shapeshift the direction of our career and our lives with the quality of our thoughts and the questions that we ask. So I want to, ask better questions.
yeah. It's a long journey, and like you said, I think at some point you are not the best version of yourself, but you're still improving. We are still improving, and I think it's we have all potential, and this potential we have to reach it, and but at different rhythm and different pace, and it's different from. There's no formula, of course, and you can reach this. I don't. I don't like to say to reach goal. I would like to say to to travel basically. This is a journey basically, in this life, and you just learn, enjoy it, and not the goal, of course. The goal, there's a goal, of course, uh, but enjoy it, enjoy the process. It's I
Yeah.
think this is it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to have goals, and sometimes I look at it as an anchor. Like you want to be anchored somewhere in the universe to be grounded. We want to have like a vision of where we're going, but still be open to the journey of the unknown if life takes you in this direction. It's for a reason, whether we know it or not. So being open to, okay, this is my target, but if we're so focused on the target, that's great and it's really important. But something might happen along the way where it could be greater and better for us. So it's important to be aware of those subtle shifts so we don't get in our way of uh, potential greatness and we're actually holding ourselves back from a limited, smaller thought of where we think we're supposed to go, like this illusion of where we're supposed to be. So it's that fine line, and that's kind of the journey of life and understanding and discovering that process. But it's really important to be having goals and anchored. So it's leading us in the direction of somewhere, but then as life continues and evolves, it's so is our intention and our goals, because we're going to find out new information along the way where we might not want to go in that direction, or we might want to keep going in that direction, and it might feed our hunger to keep going in that direction, and or something else could happen. A really great book is called Mastery of Love. Miguel Ruiz, Ruiz. Mastery of Love is one of the most beautiful books in the world. He also wrote The Four Agreements, so I highly suggest those books. They're easy, fun reads. I've read them multiple times, and they're great gift books too. If you want to give it to a fellow human that you might love, or a fellow filmmaker, creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Different examples. It's great because you at some point you have to find a balance. How can you find a balance for you? Because you're acting, you're directing, you create different projects, and how can you find with different the balance with your private life, with your job, with your family, with friends, maybe, I don't know, different. How can you find this balance?
Yeah, I'm a really intense person. I'm a Scorpio, and I've always been very intense. Back in the day, I'd watch Full House like every Friday. But I was a binger, kind of like when a show comes out, Outer Banks. I watched 2 seasons in like 36 hours. I like literally couldn't put it down, and
You
so I'm very
you watch Happy
intense.
Things.
Outer Banks, have
You
you
watch
seen
Happy
it?
Things.
Yes, have you seen it?
Of course, of course.
Oh my God, the gold
It,
treasure is I love fantasy. I love the water and watching it. You feel
it's
like you're on a vacation.
the
Yeah.
boat, yeah, the island, the boat, the friendship, the pogs,
Yes.
the cooks,
Yes. Yes.
and the treasure, the treasure hunt. It's great.
Yeah.
It's like you're a child, and you're get involved into an adventure, like I don't know, like a Huckleberry Finn or a Tom Sawyer. It's a great show, I think, and yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad saw it, and I did it as well, and I think I hope it's gonna be a new. There will be a new season, maybe. I
There
hope
is.
so.
There is.
Uh,
There is. In 2022. I
okay, okay.
looked it up. I looked it up. Yeah, but it's like the story is great, the language is great. The first episode, I was like, yo, I'm like, how are they gonna like sustain this? Like this like gold treasure hunt. I was really curious, and I was like, how is this going to happen? And they just taking you on so many twists and turns, the writers. I'm like, wow. And it's so appeasing. Like when you see the lighting, the styling, the wardrobe, the cinematography, the lighting, it makes you feel so good sensorially. Like you're just lying there watching the show, but you feel like you're on this island with the people. You feel immersed inside of the TV. So it really intrigued me. And then the gold, and the lighting, it was just really great. So I love the cinematography on it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And the cast is great, and I don't know, they're all great. I think
Hmm.
they did an amazing job. The crew and the cast, of course,
Yeah.
and the creators. It's very appealing because you're like you said, you dive into this story basically. You know, and
Yeah.
I know it's great. It's great. It's great. Yeah.
So to answer your question though, I do things like that. So when I'm like, okay, I'm overloaded with work, or I don't want to, not that I don't want to work, but I need to, I just check in with myself. So industry coach people. So I coach people. So one of the things I do when I'm coaching people is your 100 and my 100 and anyone else's 100 is so different. So it's kind of like rotors, it's brakes and rotors on a car. And if you have to change the pads, and if you don't, they could get rusty, and then they make that metal sound when it's scraping. So you have to change the pads. So what I do is, when I get, and I did this on myself first, when I get to my 80, that's my 100. So I leave that 20% for taking a bath, for meditating, for listening to music, to painting, to writing, to doing something creative, being with my family, just being in silence, just doing something that's going to nurture my soul and fill up my cup, listening to podcasts, things like that. So I'll tell my clients when I'm coaching with them, whatever your 80 is, when you get to your 80, be like, okay, now I know, because you don't want to run your tank dry and go all the way to 100 and crash and burn and leave no space for the unknown. Because the space of the unknown is, maybe your partner wants to meet up for dinner. Maybe your mom and dad want to see you or talk with you. Maybe you want to talk to a friend. Maybe you need to make 15 calls or 2 calls for important meetings for your health with doctors or something. So you always want to leave that, even if you have nothing going on, you always want to like check in around 80% to be like, okay, I'm going to wrap this up, or I have a little more in me, and then I'm going to call it a wrap. And so then I then transition into, I like to do things like um taking a hot shower. It just kind of decompresses me. Taking a bath, or just putting on a 21-minute meditation, which is just a timer, and I'll just sit and breathe. And no matter what's going on around me, I'll just sit for 21 minutes. Some neuroscientists that I recently saw said, when you go for a walk or you do something that's meditative, it should, with the neurons, and the function of how we're working, it's good to have at least 17 minutes in the meditation. So I'll do that for 21 minutes, and I'll do that, or I'll have some hot tea. So I'll also do things like Emily Dickinson, 2 seasons on Apple. Like, I'm a poet. I went out for the show. I didn't see the show. I didn't even know it existed until I got the audition. So I auditioned for it. I didn't book the role. Hopefully I have another opportunity. I then followed the writers on Twitter. For pleasure, I was so motivated. I watched 2 seasons. It was funny. Billie Eilish, I love her. Billie Holiday, her film that I've been wanting to see. I'll tune off talking and putting so much energy out, and then watch something that will really fulfill me and entertain me. And although I'm in the back seat and I'm just like watching, it's so cool because I'm still watching the director, looking at the language, looking at the costume, looking at the lighting. I'm looking at the storytelling. I'm like being motivated, and I'm still learning about the tones of the shows. Like when I watched White Lotus, that was for pure entertainment. But now I know, HBO is doing all these limited series, and I've been going out for these limited series, and now I'm attuned to these limited series, the vibes of the shows, and to be abreast and talking about them. So they all go hand in hand. But with the pandemic, I was just kind of staying very low key. But I did have the opportunity to go with my girlfriend for 3 days to this really cute resort, and it has all these minerals in the 3 different pools, and we just soaked for 3 days. No electronics, no phones, just in the sun, and just really chilled out. So I make sure I fill myself with, yeah, things
It's off
that
the grid.
excite me, and education.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, off the grid. Yeah,
What?
sometimes of the grid.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's good because you have to disconnect with your present life and to be in present, basically to be able to be here, right here, because sometimes we think about what is the next move in the future, in the near future, but you're, I don't know, you don't live the at the moment the present at some point. But that's why you said meditation is good sometimes, to slowing down this stuff, and you can see and you can notice different things, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, uh, it's great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanted to talk to you about what do you think about the crowdfunding.
Crowdfunding.
The crowdfunding, have you heard about it? It's a platform
Mm-hmm.
where they can have they set up a campaign for their film projects
Yeah. So
online.
yeah, I know about that one. I know about Indiegogo and GoFundMe. Um, Honestly, 1,000%. I was so insecure. I was so um, in my own head. Of what other people would think about me if I did one of those campaigns to raise money. I thought I was so insecure, because you hear about scams or people not using the money for the project. So I was so scared that people would think maybe I wasn't using the money for the project. That was my own insecurities. I had my own trust issues. Um, I've learned along the way, because before I was very independent and difficult to ask for help and do things with people, but I've grown through that. So I'm so excited. I am 1,000% for crown funding. Yes, Indiegogo. And honestly, not only is it good, and my friend, I'll tell you what my producing partner told me, not only is it good for your particular project, right? I actually wrote up an outline and then did a video, and the video was like 14 minutes. So like, no, you want the video to be like 1 to 3 minutes, very short, not 14 minutes. So I actually did one because I didn't start it. I didn't do it. I haven't gone through with it, but I started to set it up when I was trying to get past my own insecurities and over myself, to raise, $1,000 or $5,000 for Renalyn in Philippines, because I've sponsored her since I was 17 years old, her and her whole family, and she graduated from the program, and I still sponsor her to this day and help put her two brothers through college, and sponsor her family in the Philippines. And so, not about me, but for her, like, one, all the proceeds go for her. and and I haven't done that yet, and I really want to. It's actually, you're putting me to the test here, and I'm going to make it my interpersonal challenge and game to do it and to get out of myself and to do this for her. Because during the pandemic, I connected with this woman where they raised $1 million during the pandemic and helped 1,800 women in Africa, and who had fashion businesses and their children, to help them during the pandemic. I'm like, if this woman and her partner Annie, who's the president of the YPO, uh, Young Women's President Organization in Africa, I'm like, if these two women can do this for 1,800 women, I can do it for one child and family that I've sponsored, since I was 17. This really, and I still haven't done it. So there's those hesitations and limitations where I need to get out of my way, and where we get stuck, and where we need a team player for people to maybe emotionally support us on our journey. So I call to action and say thank you, because you've helped me focus to do this for her. With that also being said, my girlfriend Alessandra, my producing partner, told me, because I told her all the insecurities I just told you, and whoever's tuning in, she's like, Kay, there are people out there who aren't in your orbit, who don't know you, who are actually just really good people who want to be a part and contribute and donate and just help. And there's like a scrolling page, and they just scroll and they see your project and they want to help you. And so there are people out there who don't even know you, who are just really good people who actually want to help, and it makes them feel good. And I was like, oh wow. And I was like, oh cool. And that was just a different, fresh perspective, a healthier perspective from a good person, a good friend who gave me some really good advice. So I hope that resonates with you, and to the filmmaker tuning in right now. So yeah, that's one thing that's really really important. Um, lastly, and just honestly, on a marketing level, it's free publicity because people share the link with
Yeah,
other people, and it gets your project out there for more people to see it. So someone also told me that. And I felt like, oh, emotionally maybe kind of bad about that because of my probably own insecurities, which is um, my point of resistance is my personal need. So I'm really good at blabbing away to give information to help other people, and I'm really good at setting other people up with other people. But somewhere along my journey, fulfilling my own personal needs, I put on the back burner. So it's been a journey for me to not feel guilty about obtaining my personal need, which is probably why I haven't done what we've been talking about. Because I can do it for others, but when it comes to self, I probably am not the only one here. Other people please. Other people put other people first instead of taking care of your own personal needs, because we get maybe internally emotional about those kind of things. So that's a part of the life journey and growing through it. And as an artist, putting it into the art as well.
yeah, yeah. It's different different angles to tackle this topic, because it's a kind of another job, you know. The mark You use this campaign. It's like of course like a marketing tool, but you have to I don't know. It's another job in addition with acting, directing,
Right.
writing. You know,
Yeah.
it's another job.
It's when I did this TV show in Brazil with the Halogen Network called Noble Exchange, and they took 7 upcoming celebrities in one continent, North America, and took us to South America, to another continent. And each individual one, my friend O'Neill McKnight, he did music. There was a model episode. She was on America's Next Top Model. And then they took me and had me go on this fashion journey. And then I met this Fabiana, and she's kind of like, I guess, like the Paris Hilton in Brazil, in South America. Like everywhere she goes, she has guards with her, and and I'm not sure what her father does exactly, but I definitely know he was, in some prominent business in Brazil. But she had this shop, kind of, kind of like a Top Shop or an H&M, but it was like a pop-up shop, and it was just a boutique shop, not a franchise. She might have it now. But she was young. She was only 22 at the time, and I'm talking with her, and she was talking with me, and she was letting me know, you have the vision, you have the idea, you have the person who does the storyboard, you have the production, you have someone who's the financier, so you can't do it all. The through line of this whole entire episode has been having a team player and bringing other people to wear different hats. So that's someone who could be good with administration, someone who could be good with raising capital, someone who could be doing, about these platforms, but maybe you're not the person to be putting, like, you have the idea, but maybe it's someone else who's actually typing up the information and following up and staying abreast of the campaign. You find someone who's an engineer type, maybe it's their forte. I know Indiegogo, I know GoFundMe, I think you have to raise all of it or else you don't get any of it. But Indiegogo, I think if you don't raise all of it, they still give it to you though. So don't quote me on that.
There's rules. Yeah. There's rules. I don't remember which platform, but there's rules. If you don't raise all the money, all the total, I think they give it back. I think, but I don't remember which platform.
I think it's GoFundMe. And my friend David, who
No, GoFundMe. They GoFundMe. If you don't reach the goal, the amount, after the deadline, or you still can withdraw the money, basically.
oh
Yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah, definitely, yeah. I know there's different platforms. There's this rule, basically. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do the one for Renolin. the one that gives you the money no matter what. And I think I might just start some. I think I'm just going to start small, one step at a time. I think I'm just going to maybe raise $1,000 just to give to Renalyn, and hopefully,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, I'll just share
yeah.
her story. And then what I'm going to do is, I've been planning this for a long time. I had no idea documentaries when I was a kid. I had no idea about Hollywood and the stuff I'm talking about now, and all these things we're talking about. I had no idea when I was 17. But through my journey as a filmmaker and being a human being doing the work and being a part of the ripple effect, I asked Renalyn in 2017 or 16, I asked her, I said, is it okay if I come there? Because I've been planning all these years to go meet her. Is it okay if I bring a cinematographer and I shoot while we're there? She says, yes, Miss Katie. Yes, Miss Katie. I'm like, great. So then I'm going to shoot before I go and explain the journey, shoot the journey of going there, to God willing, meeting her and her family and her community, and shooting it. And then after being there, I asked her if it's okay to take her an hour away on a plane ride, which she's never been. It's where people go for a holiday, to take her there for a week, just so she and I can kind of get to know each other and spend time together and everything. And then maybe I shoot like a post thing, like an excerpt, like an outro, and then I want to submit it to film festivals and have it be social justice and impactful, conscious film. How the power of yes, to say yes to someone that you've never met in the world. She was my anchor. She was the seed that I planted in the Philippines,
Mm,
growing up in Michigan, and
okay.
the ripple effect and the power of yes, and how the experience that has magnified through the decades now, of being connected to her, and through Children International. That was the program. I saw it on TV. I picked up the phone and my intuition wanted to help. That feeling that you were talking about earlier. I said yes, and I helped her. And she's not with the program. She graduated, but through Facebook, through social media, which is the only reason why I have Facebook, I was able to connect with her. And I can sensorially see videos, photos of her and her family. And the power of
Yeah,
yes is so amazing. And I want to share that story in that kind of way. And I can as a filmmaker. And she said yes. So I've had 2 trips planned. One was um, the start of the pandemic. So I actually had to cancel the trip. So, but I hope to get to her and see her in a safe way when it's meant to be. But it's been birthing and manifesting and simmering on the back burner for a long time. And then I'm going to put
yeah.
it in the film festivals.
It's a long preparation to get there. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, you have an unforeseen event like the COVID, the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, but hopefully you will see her. Of course, yeah. Of
I hope so. I
course,
hope so. I mean,
yeah,
yeah. So I hope so. I hope so.
yeah, yeah. Okay, definitely. Yeah. I would like to talk to you about the current cinema nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
because with the technology nowadays, someone can buy a camera, can buy a video editing, and can start making a film. Do you think it's the future of cinema? This is positive, negative for you?
To being able to create your own content.
With the technology, nowadays, with the smartphone, we can we can
Yeah.
film something.
Yeah, because any network or anything that goes viral, which is the unknown and unexpected, any producer, any financier could align to your story if it's told. Oh, this happened to my son, this happened to my daughter. Oh, this would make great for a show. And then they want to finance you. I mean, anything can happen if you're open to possibilities. And anything, however, the thing is, it's about the content. If they see something and a producer, director, or a network, and you pitch it and you show it, they can see it, and then they can give you a budget to then create something with better equipment, better quality, with actual production and a showrunner, right? So it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be showrunner quality, network quality. I mean, with an iPhone, it's great quality nowadays. So if you're telling a great story, sometimes if it's not the best quality, that could be the vibe of the show. It could be the vibe of the movie. Like it could be edgy and raw and real. You know, everything doesn't have to be so cinematic, crisp, and pretty. They just want to see the stories. And if they see your talent and your work, then you can collaborate with someone and get an investor, or your partner could be the investor, or you can team up to find an investor, which is very difficult because I've tried, you know, I was a producer and, you know, producing films with Forrest Whitaker attached and directors from Spain attached. Still, you know, I mean, even when people, you have LOIs, letter of intents with people, projects can still fall through the cracks. I know a family who has a series on Netflix right now, very successful, and they got picked up for season 2. It's been pushed 3 times. Even when you have a series network that's on TV, it still can be frustrating for a filmmaker. It can still be pushed, and you're like, how,
Yeah.
when you have a successful TV show on the air? It's just it's the nature of life. It's the same thing for all of us, no matter what
Mm.
level we think we're at, or the illusion of where we want to be for measured success. We all have human
Yeah.
emotions and things that happen.
Yeah, of course, I agree with you. But in the same time, they measure the success with an audience. If you reach millions of people, they can give you a big budget.
Mm-hmm.
No matter the story, no matter the project on social media or on Netflix, and
Yeah,
maybe in Hollywood, basically. And because we do that for people, basically,
yeah. Well, I mean,
we share,
yeah,
we express, of course, we express ourselves to share it to the audience, and that's the goal, I think,
yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, I mean, you have people who come from humble beginnings and can reach an audience, and then you have people who are, you know, we're all connected to people, but what kind of people? So some people have the finance, some people have the family members, or some people have the connections to get it in a position where more people can see it because maybe they have a bigger budget for marketing, or, you know, so there's different avenues of how it can happen. The audience ultimately will tell. So with the quality of the project, but I mean, or the content, even if something's amazing, maybe it's not seen. I mean, it's not show closet, it's called show business, right? A lot of talent, they're in their closet and they're not even putting their projects out. A lot of independent filmmakers, I've seen it so many times while producing. um this one filmmaker who hired me in a movie that never got made, had a project that I was going to make, and it was going to be financed, and he got offered $100,000, 50 for directing, 50 for writing, and he wouldn't do it. Most filmmakers, directors, they have their baby project and they're so attached because normally it's like a very personal thing, right?
Right.
A personal story. It's so personal. I was told by this a legendary producer who warned me and told me, these first time filmmakers, directors who come along, they're so attached to this project that they wrote that they want to direct it and write it instead of just writing it and taking the $100,000 and allowing a seasoned director direct it and get someone like a Val Kilmer, well, God willing, with his health, but you know, someone legendary to be a part of the project, and then take the money, run, direct the next project. But most
Mm.
people sabotage themselves because they're so attached to directing it that it doesn't get made. It doesn't get made. They don't get any money, and they're still not making any movies because they're so attached to directing their first one. But that's where trust comes in, insecurity, non-attachment, working as a collaborative team. There could have been a negotiation. Okay, give me $100,000. I wrote this. It's going to get made. It's going to get produced. You have a director, maybe have a contractor notes that you can, I don't know, directors probably don't want to co-direct, you know? So maybe that could be icky. But if someone's making you an offer, get your project made. If you're that of a genius and you're that talented, direct your second one. Direct the next project.
Yeah.
Just let people help you, especially if you're getting an invitation to have your project financed. That's one way. Another way, because there's so many ways, look at Rocky, right? I guess he got offered 3 million or something. And I guess his partner said to him, well, have you ever had 3 million? No. Okay, well, you won't miss it. And he didn't do it. And then he went off to make Rocky, and he's the director for them and the star of them. So the thing about filmmaking in life, we all have our own journeys. And everything I'm sharing and saying now is just through my own experiences and some of what I've learned along the way. So I hope you take some gems, but you also see my failures and what not to do, what to do. Come to me, follow up, ask questions, keep asking questions, you know, let's keep the conversation going and learn from one another. And, you know, obviously there's the literature, the craftsmanship, and people's stories. And it's evolving and ever changing. So that's the excitement of the unknown. It can happen. It won't happen how we probably think it's going to happen. It's probably going to happen in an unexpected way.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Of course, it depends on people and on projects, of course. But of course, you're right. But you have to let go sometimes. You because otherwise you are going to screw everything. Yeah, in a way, you know. But it's
suffocating
on the other hand,
suffocating it.
Yeah,
it's like a beautiful
definitely.
Butterfly wanting to, you know, it's a caterpillar and wants to come out, but if you keep it in there, it'll, you know, we suck the life out of it. So when we let go, there's a beautiful saying, it's so simple, it's let go, let God, let go, let God. When we dismantle and let go from the attachment, unconditional love, if you love something or someone, you let them go, and if it comes back, it's meant to be. Also, it's like when you love something, when you love someone, you let them go gently, you let it go gently. So gently allowing and letting go. So it's your illusion and your dream of how something's supposed to be. Like me, I was so insecure, I thought I was like abandoning my babies, my projects. But when you just put it on the back burner and you nurture it, like, oh, I'm letting it go gracefully and gently, it's not so traumatic on the psyche.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. It's a process to let go. Of course, it takes time.
Yeah.
But in the other hand, you can trust, like I said, trust your gut, and always, because it's not logical. But at the end, if it's your project, go for it and do it on your own way. You know, don't ask anyone from, you know, just collaborate. But you don't ask help from the producers or something if you don't let go, of course.
I've made so many projects for no money. I get pleasure out of seeing what can I do that costs no money, so I don't have to jump through hurdles. I'll ask friends for locations. I'll find locations for free. I'll get involved with people who want to collaborate where they're not going to charge me money. You know, where I want to bring on ambitious, creative people. So I do everything to cut the cost. And anything that's going to give me a problem or a nuance, I remove and eliminate, because I don't want static energy in my stratosphere while I'm creating. We need to be able to be in flow creating and go with the flow, because the unexpected will happen, especially when you're on set on preparation day, right?
Yeah.
So
that's not a great day to begin a day like this, especially on your first day. But about the first day on set, I was like, I don't know. I was thinking, you know, when you start a new production, okay, right, and your first day, I was just thinking maybe, you know, thinking to organize something more like a light day, less scenes, you know, to get. No, you go straight, and you do. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah, yeah, totally. I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
because you need to find your own crews basically,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
the first day would be the I don't know the paramount for your project. I think.
Well, I think you have to look at the weather. That's going to play a big factor if you're indoors or outdoors. Like, literally, um, it really is a big part of nature and the unexpected of the unknown. Uh, but if you're shooting something maybe in California, you're probably going to have more sunny days. But um, yeah, I mean, sometimes if you're just in the valley, I'll want to shoot everything in the valley, and then if it's in West Hollywood, I want to shoot everything that's going to be in West Hollywood. The most important thing, the very very most important thing to do when you're on a production set and you're producing a project and people are showing up for you for free or for very little or on a contingency with a back end deal, you want to make sure they are well hydrated, that you have water for everyone, drinks for everyone, for hydration, so people can be nurturing. You want to have craft service, a food area so people can nibble and have snacks. And you want to make sure you feed the people. You want to make sure they have breakfast. You want to make sure they have a lunch. You want to make sure they have a dinner. People want to be fed. If you just give people the food and the hydration, they're there for the craft and they're there for the project. They're there for the mission. If you show up on set and for a beginning filmmaker and these people aren't getting paid or getting paid very little, and you're not nurturing the basic things that we need, like, as human beings, you're not nurturing in that way. I mean, I don't know if that's motherly advice or just in my nurture nature to, as a producer, to take care of people. But if you just, give them treats of food and water and take care of them, they feel they're being taken care of, like a breakfast. Oh, it's like, it feels good. Oh, lunch, crafty. It's fun. It's a fun thing. Like, I love going to set. I was on this Julia Roberts project one time, and craft service was just magnificent. Like, crafty's always great, but this one was like extra special because probably like Julia Roberts, it was her project, but um, it was amazing. And actors, people on set, you remember those things because it's about an experience and how it is on set. So you want to make sure everyone's fed, well hydrated, and professional. And you kind of have the ground rules before you go on set, which is, no cell phones, everything on silent, things like that. So you set the ground rules. You don't do the ground rules on set. You set the ground rules before showing up to set, and then have a crew meeting with everyone before starting the day. And then you also want to be a coach. Like, okay, great, we're doing great. Good shot. Da, da, da. Okay, that was awesome. And this, just take moments in the beginning to kind of like set an intention for their overall purpose, remind people like why they're there, be appreciative, acknowledge people that maybe like, before or after lunch, probably after everyone's fed. And then when you wrap at the end of the day, so they want to come back the next day, And so you have to communicate the intention in a simplistic, healthy way. So I think communication is really important, when you're doing a team project. And you don't have to give this big speech. Just people want simplicity. Like, I'm so grateful that you showed up, that you're here. This is really exciting. I hope you're having a lot of fun. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, like, let's talk about them one-on-one. I want to make sure everyone feels they're on a safe set. Simple.
Yeah, it's kind of psychological. You have to take care of everyone, every single person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think about? I know you partly answered it, but about the current cinema. We're still in a pandemic, but I don't know where do you think cinema goes?
I think it's so exciting. I'm so excited. I love Schitt's Creek. I love Mrs. Maisel. I love I love comedy. I'm a cheesy comedy girl, but I love all the limited series. I love all the streaming because I'm so, like I was saying earlier about being so intense. Shonda Rhimes is a showrunner. She's a boss lady. She has, she did Bridgerton. I loved Bridgerton. Um, she has the longest running drama in Hollywood called Grey's Anatomy. She has, like, Shondaland. She's gone off to do all these amazing things. And she had a deal, I read, with ABC, I think, for 4 years. And then that expired. And she's the first showrunner to do, I think she did a 10-year deal with Netflix, but she did a deal with Netflix and their shows. And so I think she's really paving the way for a lot of showrunners, filmmakers in the industry. And so I admire her. I hope to meet her in the near future and definitely work on her show. So I'm really excited about that as a creative, and looking up and honoring other, filmmakers. But I think that's where we're headed. I know Netflix did, I think, a 10-year deal. I think it was a 10-year deal in New Mexico. And I know they dumped $1 billion into it. And then last November in 2020, I read they dumped another $1 billion. And I think Stranger Things is shot there. So there's a lot of projects being shot in New Mexico. There's a lot of projects being shot in Atlanta. So yeah, I think that's where cinema is going. With limited series that HBO's doing. I know ACM is doing limited series. So it's kind of like the thing now of where cinema is going, which is kind of very much like a docu-series or short films, because people's attention spans, right, are shorter. It's what they say, our attention spans are, as a goldfish, 7 to 9 seconds. That's how. So I would be very surprised if anyone's actually tuning in right now. But even, it doesn't matter. Even if it's just you and me, you know what I mean? We're the ripple effect. It's just right here. So, but yeah, I mean, is that the kind of idea of what you were thinking about, like where cinema might be headed? Is in those kind of terms?
Yeah, I know that's internet, with the streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, they're paving the way, of course, for filmmakers, and they can bring some deals for them, and they can develop some projects like this in the long term, and the internet, I think it will be a huge part, huge important. Um, are important uh, domain, for this industry. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
the other hand, you still have the theaters. I still want to go to the movies to I want to see different stuff like this, but
Great.
at some point I want to still watch some movies at home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So different movies at the theaters and at home, and you have to don't forget it. The driving, the car, you can watch the air screen outside and outdoor, and
Drive-ins.
yeah,
Remember
it's very,
drive-ins? Remember drive-ins? I mean, they're so rare, but I love a good
yeah.
drive-in. I haven't been in such a long time. I remember when I was a kid going with my mom and dad and seeing it in the movies.
Mm.
Real quick, so two things. I know with Amazon, independent filmmakers, you can pitch your shows and show them to Amazon Studios, and have your own deal. Of course, that's digital. YouTube, they just did a deal recently where you can get paid for your short content. I think the content's just 1 minute clips. So that's another way. But what you said about actually going to the movies, and I want to still go to the movies and have that experience, people like you, who actually want to still go to the movies, are is what's going to keep the cinemas, the movie theaters alive. People like you and me, and people who want to go when we want to go to the theaters. So I remember, I think it was in 2006, I was in India, and I heard about uh, India in 2007 was going to open up 1,000 more theaters. And I remember Al Pacino doing deals to do movies in India, and like Angelina Jolie went there to do a movie, and Bollywood is huge for films. And I don't know how the theaters are doing now because of the pandemic, and then the Disney Plus and how they're doing. Oh, you can see it in the theater, but you can then play a plus fee and like see it from the privacy of, you said, sometimes I want to stay home. So, separate from hygienic and the safety for all, which is number one right now, um, you know, I could only say I think theaters will still be here. Uh, but it could be the era of drive-ins where they're super rare. Maybe there's only going to be like, there's certain art house theaters, right, in Paris and LA, New York. There's certain house theaters that show indie films, or they're art houses. It's very specific. They don't show the commercial kind of movies. Maybe it'll be quality over the quantity for the movie theaters, because of what you said. I wanted to see it from the comfortability of my own home. Or maybe people have movie theaters in their home or a TV room, and it's becoming more of a hybrid thing where you invite people over and then you all watch it together with your own community. So that's another part of us ever evolving and changing, of how we take in pleasure and entertain. I remember when I was a kid, wrestling was really big for the men in my family for some reason. So we'd have this big, huge screen TV, and there would be this pay-per-view thing, and we would have a party, and the food would come, and we'd have everyone over, and we would just all watch the wrestling game, and it was like a thing. So maybe that's how it'll be for movies with some people. Or maybe that's, I mean, it's definitely, I went to a movie last week. I've seen it already, but there was my sister's friends had maybe some people over, and they had a movie theater, and we watched The Wisdom of Trauma by Gabor Mate, Mate. He's amazing to binge on YouTube, to understanding about trauma. He's amazing, and how we all have it, and how we can relate in that way with more kindness and compassion with one another. It's super, super cool. Yeah, but what do you think about cinema in the future and where it could be going?
What I think, it's like, you have different audiences, and you can reach one of them if you want. It's like different markets basically, and different niche. You don't need to reach every people. If your project is great, you don't need to reach every single person. But the studios, the majors, they tend to reach a lot of people, of course, and
Yeah.
you don't have to. You don't have to. Yeah, you have different ways, of course, but not all the projects are not meant to be one single. I don't know, one single. I don't know, one single view. I don't know. There's no one point of view, but there's different point of views basically, and I don't know. Like, you can reach a kid and for a family movie, and you can reach a adult with the same film or with different films, and it depends. I think you have different audiences. That's it tends to be, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's really important to know like who we are and what we stand for and what entertains us. Because I mean, there are so many networks and channels and tones of shows. So it's like, not a free for all, but I mean, everything is out there. So, being entertained is one thing, but then when you're creating, knowing TNT, oh, this is the tonality, or Lifetime, or HBO, these are the networks that are telling my type of stories that I'm creating. So then where and how to pitch it, and what kind of producers and people to talk to, who maybe have produced for MTV, who have produced for Amazon, or who have produced independent films, who understand international sales. Oh, there's a Stoa.
All right.
Yeah,
Apparition. All right.
yeah,
A cameo,
What?
a cameo.
Oh, here. Come here, Stoa.
Stella.
Stoa, Stoa, yeah. Stoism. But he's following my sister around right now, so that's why
All right.
he's
Well,
he's
yeah.
barking.
you want to go on? Yeah,
Hmm? What?
yeah. Okay. Okay. No,
Oh
I
yeah, no,
was.
I have a few more minutes if you want to chat. Yeah, I have a few.
I
Yeah.
have just I almost finished.
Oh,
Go. Go.
yeah, we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Right. There's if you have the opportunity to work with someone, who could it be?
Hmm. Johnny Depp. As an actor, probably Johnny Depp would be great.
Hmm.
Angelina Jolie. I love Mila Kunis, Natalie Portman. Mm, yeah. Uh, my favorite movie is Amadeus by Milos Forman. So I love his work. He's awesome. Um, I love, yeah. So those are some actors I would really like to work with. Who would you like to work with?
Yeah, Johnny Depp, of course. If yeah, I can tell you names today. Tomorrow will be different, but Johnny Depp is, I think, is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
totally. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe Will Smith.
Hmm.
Different people. Denzel Washington or Sandra Bullock.
His Will Smith and J Lo, his their coach, his name's Aaron Spicer. So he has an acting studio. You should see if they're online. Aaron Spicer, they're on La Brea, LA space BREA. Aaron Spicer, Spicer, I think. So he'll be on set with Will Smith for 3 months while he's doing a movie, or J Lo. You should see if they have virtual classes, because then maybe you can be in the technique of Will Smith, since that's someone that you admire and want to work with. I would love to work with Nicole Kidman. That would be really cool. My acting coach that I studied with for a while, Susan Batson, is her acting coach. Love her.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I've heard about her. I've heard about her. Yeah, she's amazing.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, told me early, and I have a friend. He's a filmmaker, and they told an actor, and he went there. No, no, no. She went to Paris. I know there's a class or master class or something, and he had this opportunity to work or to be on her class or something. I don't remember if he went to New York or it was the opposite.
With who?
I don't remember. Sorry, say again.
With who?
Susan Batson.
Oh, so you already knew about Susan.
I know Susan. I know. I've heard about her, of course. Yeah,
Oh,
and
great.
I don't. I have a friend, so he had the class with her. I don't remember if it was in New York or in Paris.
She should be on your podcast.
All right. I will. Maybe in the future. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, who
Definitely.
knows?
I will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, very
And
cool.
yeah. And yeah. So yeah, the opportunity. It's always about the opportunities, basically. Yeah. If you can work to share a different. I don't know. A slice of life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Set, and it'd be great because it's like you're adding some valuable work,
Yeah.
very valuable work, and and maybe working with you in a project. I don't know.
Yeah, we should definitely create something and make it happen. I would love that. I would love it. We should
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
do that. Yeah, we can, especially digitally, we can even create something, which is cool.
seriously. And if you come to France as well, and yeah, so
Oh, yeah. And then when I come there, obviously, like you're close by to my painting partners. You live right by them, which is really cool.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
oh, I also love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I mean, there's so many people we could just go on the list, but do you know Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah, of course, yeah, yeah.
He's great. Yeah.
He's a child star. I think started very early, right?
I
Yeah.
was introduced to his work in 2005.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
There.
and I was at
There.
Tribeca Film Festival, Oh yeah, so Tribeca Film Festival. I saw a film um, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt that was in the Tribeca Film Festival, and I just became a big fan of his work. I just loved his acting so much, so I've been following his career ever since.
If you have some, maybe some the last tips to give to someone who's gonna start, and then let you go.
Yeah, I would definitely say all the books that I mentioned, go back and listen to the names that I said. They all have YouTubes, they all have audiobooks. Just do your research, know your craft, start messy, go for it. I can coach you if you need an industry coach. So definitely just go to chonacas.com to check out my website and connect with me and follow me on all social media. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, so you can contact me any which way you want. And I look forward to hearing from you and hearing more about your journey. And thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you. Well
Yeah.
said. And I was going to ask you if you have something to promote.
Oh,
You did.
Let's
Yeah.
see. What are we? I have a new poetry book called The Lover's Fairytale. So you can get it from my website. It's available on Amazon and everywhere. You can just type in aloversfairytale.com and pick up the book. And there's coffee mugs and the poetry book if you like to read poetry and go on a whimsical journey with language.